Tonight, the challenges for businesses and workers in the new age of technology.
People are not designed to do the same thing again and again and again and again. Machines are better at that. The internet and the whole digitization agenda is bigger than the Industrial Revolution.
And the extent that our jobs might be at risk from new intelligent machines.
I don't believe it. That can't be true.
That is a lot higher than I was expecting. Wow, that's quite high.
Good evening and welcome to the Tonight programme. Machines driven by smart computer technology are set to transform our working lives. Exclusive research for Tonight has found that machines might be capable of doing over a third of our jobs by 2030. So could a new machine age be coming? Paul Davis investigates how much our workplaces could be disrupted as man prepares to do battle with machines.
British workers have adapted to great leaps in technological change over the years. From a labour force predominantly based on agriculture, we became a huge industrialised economy by the 19th century. And in the 20th century, the introduction of computers helped us become the financial centre of the world. However, the latter part of the 21st century will see the biggest upheaval of our workforce ever, due to new technology.
These are the machines that will change the face of industry in the future. We are going to see many more robots on production lines, smart computers taking the place of humans in white-collar jobs. Business leaders and academics agree the impact of all this new technology on the workplace is going to be on the scale of the Industrial Revolution.
Professor Kevin Warwick is an expert in robotics and cybernetics. He became the world's first cyborg when he had surgery to connect technological implants to nerves in his body.
I think if you look towards different sectors, transport is going to change dramatically in the next 10 to 15 years, and that affects so many people. Taxi drivers, will we need human taxi drivers in the future? The same with bus drivers, the same with airline pilots. All these jobs are going to go to machines.
Strong views. But robots are already helping surgeons perform operations. Drones are now common on the battlefield. And driverless trains and vehicles are being considered by our public authorities. Change is happening fast. Yorkshire and the textile industry was at the heart of the Industrial Revolution in Britain. And today, a small clothing company in Wakefield is at the forefront of using new machine technology.
The old stone mill in the background there, you'd have had no end of them round there. When I walked to school, all the looms were working, you know, the machines in the background and men pushing trolleys up and down the streets, you know, from mill to mill. It's all gone now, all gone.
Graham's father worked in the old mills and he followed him into the clothing business. His company designs and manufactures a range of products, but it's the new machines that he's bought to make rugby kits, which are breaking new ground in the industry.
This is where we've made his latest investment in machinery. This is the first machine of its kind in the UK. There's nothing particularly new about a laser cutter. It's the brains, it's the technology behind the laser cutter that's telling the laser cutter exactly what to do.
Designs are sent directly from computers to the machines, which cut, print and press the shirts automatically.
This setup that we've got here makes Lynn 3 times more efficient. That can treble sales, so it's got to be good for us.
Graham is working with technology experts in his local university to identify ways of increasing automation in his factory.
Where we want to get to in the end is a fully automated system so that you'll be able to go online, design the shirt exactly how you want. You press the send button and then no hands are going to touch it. It's going to actually drop into the production process, be queued up to be printed, work its way around. We'll probably get to a stage where it'll actually get assembled. I should imagine where there'll be no sewing machinists, but yeah, that's where we want to get to.
His staff know that technology is driving the business, and the talk in the canteen is how other areas in the factory might be affected by more machines.
I think it will definitely get a lot bigger. Be more machinery coming in.
The more machines you get, the less staff you need.
Yeah.
The more machines. So then it all goes roboticified, doesn't it? We get rid of us all. I'll be first one out.
Robotic machines driven by computer technology are transforming manufacturing. But an even greater development is how computers today can access and process huge amounts of data, allowing them to become intelligent like humans.
The big game changer is we have intelligent machines that are being intelligent for us. People's concepts generally of artificial intelligence or intelligent robots are humanoid type things, the Arnold Schwarzenegger or iRobot. But that's not what intelligent machines do. That's not what artificial intelligence does. It does much more specific tasks. And this is where, when it's doing specific tasks, when they become better than humans at those tasks, so they take over.
This year, at a meeting in Davos, one of the topics being discussed by heads of state and business leaders was how machines could be more intelligent than humans in the future. Google is one of the big companies that is investing heavily in artificial intelligence technology.
Within AI, there's a lot of artificial intelligence. There's something called the Turing test, invented here by Alan Turing, which is essentially a test where you have questions and you can't tell the answer. You can't tell whether the answer is a human or a computer. This notion that somehow these machines, if you will, replace us is wrong. The evidence is that these tools are used primarily to make the world more productive, greater innovation, greater job creation. And there's a sort of whole meme of people who wander around saying, oh, as a result, there'll be no jobs, where jobs are losing to machines and so forth. That appears to be completely false, right? There are new winners and new losers.
But who will be the winners and losers in a workplace where machines are so dominant? Tonight asked a team of academics at Oxford University to calculate the number of jobs a robot or computer might be capable of doing in the future. Mike Osborne, an expert in machine learning, coordinated the research.
We considered things like to what extent the jobs involved manual dexterity, the ability to negotiate or persuade, and we thought those sort of features might be indicative of the extent to which a job might be replaceable by machines, by robots, over the next 20 years.
The research, which looked at 702 different categories of occupation, revealed that well over a third of the UK workforce are in jobs where there's a high risk that a machine could be capable of doing their work by 2030.
I think this 36%, while quite an alarmingly high figure, is actually representative of the very severe impacts that technologies will have on human employment. It's important to highlight that while these technologies will substitute for humans in jobs, that is, will replace humans, they're also likely to create new jobs.
We asked Mike Osborne to help tonight build a website so we could share our research with the public.
So then we've just mapped all these results into this website such that anyone that we encounter in the public can just type in their particular occupation, click this little button, and have the system tell them how likely it is that they might be replaced by a robot by 2030.
There is a 4% chance that a machine will be able to do a job by 2030.
Our website will demonstrate to the public just how vulnerable their jobs could be to machines in the future. Recently, the chief executive of Barclays Bank, Anthony Jenkins, said the company is facing a 1 in 100-year challenge to change because of new technology. The bank is overhauling its retailing banking services using more machines and less workers. This new branch in Watford is in a supermarket.
Unlike an ATM, you can actually make a payment, so that's paying your bills. So if you have a credit slip, so for a utility bill or something like that.
Barclays has invested millions of pounds in state-of-the-art cash points and online applications for its customers. But what do they think about machines replacing humans. You've just had your experience of the machine. How did you find it?
I'm quite happy with what there is, although there's not the personal touch there used to be when you used to go to someone who was on the other side of the counter, but I'll get used to it.
Are you at all worried that people, your children down the line, are slowly being replaced by machines?
Job-wise, yes. Definitely it's going to affect us all. But the problem is, technology is moving on so fast, other things are changing, and whether we like it or not, we all have to adapt, and that includes the children.
The chief executive behind the changes in retail banking at Barclays is Ashok Vaswani, who is based at the company headquarters in Canary Wharf.
Things change all the time, but for the country, for industries like your own, this is a time of particular change, is it not?
It absolutely is, and it's not only for our industry or not only for our country. Actually, it's a global phenomenon. I would submit to you that the internet and the whole digitization agenda is, if anything, bigger than the Industrial Revolution.
How much change is there in your company?
Well, there's a lot of change going on. This change is predicated on what customers are saying and how do we make customers' lives much, much easier.
And is it an inevitable price that we have to pay for that, that there will be casualties in terms of less people needed, more redundancies?
The way I like to think about it is people are not designed to do the same thing again and again and again and again and again and again and do it exactly the same way. Machines are better at that. Let's utilize people to do things where it requires the mind, where it requires the application of judgment. There is no doubt that we will have slightly fewer people than we had yesterday, but we've managed this process very, very well, I would say, that we've allowed people to choose to opt into the journey or to choose opt out of the journey.
We've brought our research to the streets of Birmingham to find out how workers here might fare in the new age of automation.
So we're here in Solihull today to talk to some members of the public about their particular jobs and how at risk they are of being computerised. So I'm expecting some strong reactions. I'm hopeful that people won't get too offended, but I think it is important to tell them the real risks that do exist to human employment.
The technology may be available to replace humans with machines, but employers will be taking commercial decisions whether to do so or not.
What are you expecting?
I'm expecting for it to say no.
There is a 29% chance that a machine won't be able to do her job by 2030.
What do you think?
I didn't expect it to be any higher than that. Definitely not.
So, I mean, 29% is actually one of the lower occupation classes, so yeah you're certainly not at immediate risk.
There is a 92% chance that a machine won't be able to do her job by 2030.
I don't believe it. That can't be true.
You don't believe it?
Is it? But how? You wouldn't get, like, the great kind of customer service and the chat.
But I think we are seeing, for example, self-checkouts that might be able to do this sort of thing. We're seeing tablets at tables in restaurants, which you can just sort of tap away at in order to place an order. So they're the kinds of technologies.
Scary.
It is quite scary, I agree.
There is a 4% chance that a machine won't be able to do her job by 2030.
That's not too bad, 4%.
I think a lot of your job involves interacting with people, am I right?
That's right, yes.
So having a deep understanding of other humans, and it's exactly that I don't think machines are going to be able to substitute.
No, I don't think so either.
I'm a personal banking advisor.
And we'll just get the machine to tell us.
There is a 80% chance that a machine won't be able to do her job by 2030.
Wow. That is a lot higher than I was expecting. Wow,
yeah,
that's
right.
Quite high.
Do you have any idea for what the kind of technologies are that might be leading to this sort of probability?
Well, obviously in that industry there's a lot of services going online, so a lot more people using online services for their day-to-day needs, so that's probably where it's heading.
I think that is part of it, yeah.
Our research suggests that a worker earning less than £20,000 a year is 5 times more likely to have a machine capable of doing their job by 2030 than a worker earning £100,000 a year.
The key difference between what's happening now and what's happened in years gone by is the sheer pace of change. As machines replace people in the places of production that we have, that has implications for the ability of people to adjust to that change. They need to reskill themselves very quickly, and they need to be thinking about doing that throughout their working lives.
Transport for London is proposing to change the face of London Underground by automation, a decision which is not entirely popular with many of the affected workers. The Underground strike earlier this year in London brought the capital to a standstill. The dispute is about how the workforce should be restructured as a result of new ticketing technology. This ticket office worker agreed to talk to us anonymously.
What was it like the very first time that you heard their proposals and realised that it meant you and it meant the machine taking your place?
It's demoralising. The people that are in these booking offices, we're almost lifers. We've been there for 20-odd years. It's not just a 9 to 5 for us. It's a huge part of our life.
Your bosses will say that automation's the future and it's a better future. Are they wrong?
Well, in this instance, yes, I think they are. Technology is great in every sense, but you also need people. Not everybody wants an IT lesson every time they come to buy a ticket. They just want somebody there to speak to.
Does it leave you feeling bitter towards the machines and the people who are trying to put them in ahead of you?
I wouldn't say I was bitter. I would say I feel more sad. I care about my customers. I look forward to solving any problem that comes my way, and I want it to continue.
Transport for London told us that their initial proposals to close all ticket offices are being discussed further with the unions. They state that the use of ticket offices has been reduced to a small percentage of journeys, and part of their vision for modernisation involves more visible staff elsewhere around stations to help customers. Our research suggests of workers currently employed in transport industries like taxi services, freight, airlines, buses, coaches and trains, over 1.5 million are at high risk of a machine being capable of doing their jobs by 2030. Historically, major restructuring of the British workforce has impacted predominantly on blue-collared workers. However, experts predict that new artificial intelligence technology will be able to do the jobs of a whole range of clerical and white-collar workers. Annabelle Seaton is a finance executive at a major travel company which has an annual turnover of over £1 billion. 3 years ago, they decided to introduce artificial intelligence computer technology to parts of their invoicing system.
So this is physical invoices we've received, and these are the offices. We've received them around the world. They've been scanned in those offices. What we tried to change was to take out the human touch, the manual touch. The artificial intelligence system looks at the invoice, picks out the data, and it learns where the data is, and it learns who the supplier is. So that's the 38,277 we've received this month. And of those, 29,000 have now gone through the whole process. So they've been scanned, the data's been picked up, it's been matched to a purchase order, and now it's completed, approved, and ready for payment.
After installing the artificial intelligence system, the company made cuts to its offshore financial team and to staff in the UK offices.
Travel is a massive growing business. We can't have our overhead costs rising at the same level as our turnover, you know. It doesn't work like that. You need people to add intelligence and business decision-making, and that's what you employ people to do, and that's how it transforms your business.
Our research suggests there's a high risk of machines being capable of doing the jobs of over 5 million white-collar workers in the clerical, administrative and financial sectors by 2030. This is Baxter, a revolutionary new type of robot that has been designed to safely and intelligently work alongside humans. It's machines like this that could one day become your work colleague.
Businesses and public authorities are understandably reluctant to talk about the number of jobs computers and robots will be doing instead of humans in the future. The challenge is to ensure the new technology creates enough replacement jobs and, crucially, that the workforce has the skills to take advantage of them. Cadbury is one of the oldest companies in Britain and has been providing jobs for local people since 1879. This year, the company announced a 3-year process of investing £75 million in new technology to improve its production lines. Marika and Yvonne both worked for the company for over 40 years. They decided to take voluntary redundancy that was offered to staff as a result of the restructuring plans, which started in 2011. Tell me about the cream eggs, what you did and how it's done now.
Back in the 70s, we used to all have a machine and we used to have to pick the eggs coming up the belt and put them in by hand, and we used to do that for 12 hours. But now, everything comes off a belt with the new automation, straight onto the machine, and it would wrap it.
How many people would be working on that?
Oh, between 40 and 50 people. But now, because everything's so automated, there's only about 5 people max.
So, when this transformation happened and the robots took over most of your old role, were there gains in it?
No, none whatsoever, because you were alone. Before, there was a group of people. They talk about teamwork, but there is hardly anybody in the room to form a team.
Was that your biggest loss?
Losing contact with other people.
That's how it is now, but they're rolling out new technology.
Well, I think Cadbury's need to go forward. They need to be progressing. I've got to agree on that. But as far as downsizing the amount of people, that's what saddens me.
But I'd never run down the Cadbury name. They have been really good to us.
Yeah.
Marika and Yvonne obviously miss the camaraderie of the workplace, but the way humans interact with each other is bound to change in a more machine-dominated world. For companies, the rewards for investing in robots and intelligent computer technology can be rich if they get it right. The British car industry went through a difficult period of automation in the 70s and 80s, but it has now been transformed, with outputs at record highs. The Nissan factory in Sunderland is one of the most successful car plants in Europe. In the future, all employment sectors will have to get the right balance between man and machine, like the automotive industry. The challenge will be to make the transition as fast and smooth as possible, so that we can compete with the most advanced production processes in the world.
Over the next 5 years, the government and industry plan to invest £1.4 billion in new technology centres, which will provide research and development to help UK businesses meet the challenges of the future. Now, if you'd like further information on tonight's programme, please visit our website at itv.com/tonight. In the meantime, though, have a good evening. Thanks for watching. Coming up next week, with the NHS on the brink of financial disaster, we're facing some tough choices.
The NHS is currently heading to a brick wall. There's no doubt financially it's unsustainable. It's going to collapse unless we do something radical within the next 5 years.
Will Bell do it? Will she plead guilty? The Dingles are panicking next in Emmerdale. 8 at Sea looks at the nautical history of Liverpool at 8:30. And later at 9, a brand new series about modern day adoption. Wanted, a family of my own.